Welcome to Softcore History.
Today's episode is sponsored by PayPal Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Go to joinhoney.com/softcore to get discounts on pretty much everywhere you shop online today. That's joinhoney.com/softcore.
Hello and welcome back to Softcore History. My name is Jake Goldman, and I'm here with my two best friends, Dan Regester and Rob Fox. How's it going, boys?
Sound like you're reading off a cue card.
I am.
Very poorly.
I wrote that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like me reading off a cue card.
Remind self to
Say
greet audience.
Hello, hello. Hello at home if you're watching on a TV or a monitor of
Didn't
some
Biden do that like a couple weeks ago? Ron Burgundy.
He read the direction.
on the teleprompter.
I bet. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He's old.
He
I,
is.
I feel like when people dunk on him for doing old guy stuff, it's like, what'd you expect?
Was that the please clap with Jeb?
That was the worst.
Probably. Honestly, it probably was. That was probably a similar situation. Also, and I will say this is going to sound like the most cop-out thing in the world, but most people don't realize it. Not that easy to read off a teleprompter.
No. If you haven't read off one before.
Like
Did you do like morning announcements in high school?
I did. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've read off a teleprompter before for sure, in like class and or for like broadcasts and stuff like that in college. And I just want to say, it's like, I'm not saying Biden doesn't do a lot of old guy shit, or even Trump too, the same way. People like couldn't even read the teleprompter or whatever. But like all these like 30-year-olds who've never read off a teleprompter trying to dunk on them, just go read off one once for the first time and see how you do.
Yeah, you don't know what the next sentence is going to be. Like, you practice speeches multiple times.
I was terrified to read in school, like aloud.
Like from the book?
From the book in front of me. So
Yeah.
like actually having to stare at something probably like 10, 15 feet away.
It's way more difficult than people. Like, it's just like, I don't even know. It's like getting mad at a pitcher for not throwing strikes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's just like, dude,
Like, I understand that a lot of people make it look easy, but it is still a difficult thing
it's
to do.
very hard. They're paid a lot. They still aren't perfect.
Most news reporters are not paid a lot.
I was talking about pitchers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about people that read off teleprompters.
No.
Yeah, your local news anchor is probably bringing in less than 6 figs.
Yeah.
Much less, I would assume.
Yeah, I would
like
assume
50,
it's like,
60K.
Yeah.
you got to be like doing it for a while
Mm-hmm.
to be making good money.
It used to be a very good paying job.
Well,
It used to be like a local celebrity.
Well, ESPN too used to be like giant names.
Yeah.
Now I don't even think they.
No one watches Sports Center anymore.
Yeah, no. So
No.
You don't have the Van Pelts really anymore. He's a dying breed.
He
Well,
is.
Instead of talking about fancy news people, why don't we talk about some dirt people?
I love that. Mud people.
Yes, people of the dirt, specifically.
My people,
Your
hill
people.
adjacent people.
Yeah.
You're very much so. Your people as well,
Mhm.
Rob.
No, I'm Irish. Mud people.
Dirt people. Today, we're going to be talking about the dirtiest old folks I can think of. And that's Ray and Faye Copeland.
Okay.
The Copelands.
The Copelands, they are the oldest people to have ever been sentenced to death in the United States of America.
Ooh, what for?
Murder.
Okay. Fair enough.
Murder, yeah. So this is a story about two old people in bumfuck Missouri. It doesn't
Oh.
start there.
Hell yeah.
Doesn't start there.
Where in Missouri? We can
We'll get
that?
to it. We'll
All
get
right,
to it.
All right.
So we'll start with Ray, the husband. Ray Copeland was born December 30th, 1914, in an even worse state than Missouri, Oklahoma.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
A lot of people might debate that. A lot of people from neither state or, might be like, well, I don't know, man. Oklahoma's got a good college football team and
You can't
blah,
lead
blah,
with
blah,
that.
blah, blah. If you've ever driven through Oklahoma,
Every mile marker is a dead dog.
it is the most grim state. Yeah, it is the most grim state. And again, we've said this on the show before, and I will say it again. What state did we choose to exile the Native Americans to?
It wasn't called the Trail of Fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't called the Trail of Cheers. Woo! Oklahoma.
Trail of beers because they all became alcoholics.
Oh, wow, Dan, that's dark. Anyway, he's born there in 1914, December 30th. His family moved around a lot due to trying to find work and ways to make ends meet during the Great Depression. Eventually, they left Oklahoma and settled in not quite as bad but a pretty awful spot for crime. They settled in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas.
Okay.
Because of the constant moving, Ray had to drop out of school in the 4th grade to support his family. This left him functionally illiterate for the rest of his life.
Sure. That's fine.
He can't read.
That's fine.
However,
What percentage of Americans can?
99.
it's a pretty high number.
It's insane.
I thought it was lower.
You want to
No.
find out?
Kind of.
It's not. That was always one of the funniest parts of. There's one thing a lot of people claim about like Castro not being that bad in Cuba. Is one thing that like actually Colin Kaepernick would say about Castro. Is like, well, like the literacy rates like got really high. So, you know, like there's certain aspects of like socialism that might be okay or whatever. And it's like, it was already like 99% in America. He got it up to American standards by putting a gun to everyone's head.
88% here.
88.
It's 88%.
It's much lower.
No, then
11%
he didn't
less.
get it that high either. Regardless, I don't think that's accurate. I'm pretty sure it's over 90.
Ukraine is actually number 1. 99.97.
Sure as shit inaccurate.
Makes you think.
There's differing levels of literacy too. So there's like low literacy rate, but the functional literacy, 88% of Americans have it.
That sounds more accurate than 99.
99 sounds wrong.
Yeah, that's so wrong. It's 88.
I feel like Ukraine's misrepresenting those stats. Anyway,
Anyone that can't read just dies.
yeah, because they can't read where the food is.
Well, it's kind of like in Greek life when you would just remove people from your chapter who didn't make grades.
We didn't do that.
You guys didn't do that?
We didn't remove people from chapter.
No, like from your official roster.
Oh, I don't know if we did that or not.
4.1% of people in the U.S. are classified as functionally illiterate. That means straight up can't read.
Yeah. So,
I don't need everyone to read For Whom the Bell Tolls. I need everyone to read the McDonald's menu.
And stop signs,
Right.
which you don't need to read. There's a red octagon.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 90. It's probably about 96% in America, which is about as high as it gets.
Does that count blind people?
I would assume. Actually,
Blind
I bet
people
you.
can read
They can
bumps.
read Braille.
Yeah.
I would honestly assume that blind people have a higher literacy rate than.
They have no choice.
Yeah.
Well, they can't read a room.
Yeah, if anything, 99% of blind people can read.
Reading Braille sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Sounds boring. You got to feel the words out. Feel it out. So sound it out.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds awful.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, he's functionally illiterate. Friends and family described him as spoiled and demanding.
Weird for an illiterate.
Weird for a child in the Depression era being that.
No, not really. This is a child.
How do you spoil someone when you have nothing?
They probably meant he's a brat.
Oh, he's really just
Just a
demanding.
piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking dick.
Anyway, he committed his first known crime, at the age of 20. He stole 2 hogs and sold them in another town. Classic Great Depression.
That'd get you hanged in the wrong time period. He just got under the wire on that.
Yeah, his father covered for him, and no charges were filed. So I don't know how that worked, because they don't say. But he got off scot-clean, and he didn't learn any lessons from it. And this will become a recurring theme.
Him not learning lessons? Well, it's
Yes.
already a theme because he didn't learn how to read. So
Right.
he's not learning lessons left and right.
True. His father covered for him. No charges were filed. And so he continued to steal and sell livestock.
What if it was because he couldn't read and he just thought the sign said free hogs?
That's exactly what he did.
I just couldn't read it. I thought they were mine.
Yeah, like the sign, or maybe he couldn't read. The sign said, "Don't steal my pigs," but he just thought they were free pigs.
Yeah.
And he couldn't read, so he didn't know.
It's like, why would they be available for stealing?
Right.
if they
He's
weren't
just
free?
leaving them out here
Yeah.
in this fenced-in area for anyone to go in and grab.
He's just against factory farming.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who can blame him?
Yeah,
He's a hero.
so far, from what I've heard.
And if he murdered people, he's green, so he's a hero for that too.
Actually, in 1930, that wasn't his first crime. 1930, he was caught forging government checks in Harrison, Arkansas, and sentenced to a year in county jail.
It's a better crime.
Yeah, he was only 16.
Yeah.
How's he forging
Yeah.
checks if he can't fucking read
I
or write?
imagine he's one of the worst forgers out there.
Yeah.
It was an easy crime to fucking figure out.
He just signs an X for the signature, but also for the amount of money and the
like
fucking
X dollar. He's like, it's for 100. I swear to God. Like,
yeah, the person who wrote this, not me, is illiterate, but this is for $1 million. There was remember that there was someone that tried to go to a Walmart and cash a forged $1 million check at the Walmart
what do they think was gonna happen? Do you think they just have $1 million cash hanging
right?
out?
Yeah, they went there and they're like, oh, this person gave me a check for $1 million and
Actually,
all here cash is I'll take the.
I just want to get a giant check and try to cash it at like a cash checking place.
it won't cash the giant check.
Do it.
It will if it has a routing number.
I guess it would. Yeah, if it did have a routing number, it would.
But I want to get like a giant check for an obscenely low amount of money. Like the giant check costs more than the amount on the check.
So that episode of The Office.
Is that? Ah, fuck. Yeah, I guess it has been done.
Yeah, it's been done.
God damn it.
Get back to the drawing table.
Yeah. I figured it was probably out there.
Fucking plagiarism.
I don't watch the fucking Office, really.
Not even once.
Once.
Yeah, once.
But like people do it as like their
I know.
background noise.
late night.
As their background noise. Mine is Bob's Burgers, 30 Rock, and Arrested Development, and King of the Hill. Those are the 4 rotators.
It's funny. I saw one where it's like, people don't ask, have you watched The Office? They ask, do you watch The Office?
Yeah.
It's a show that's not even on TV anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I tell you that there's 4 types of people in the world, and they're all based on what NBC sitcom from that era they like the best?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, 30 Rock, The Office, Community.
Ooh, that's tough for me. I like all of those.
Yeah, they're all good shows for sure.
What's my favorite?
Yours 30 Rock.
Oh, easily. Yeah,
everyone knows that.
so I'm the smart one.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll go Parks and Rec.
wow.
Man, mid and especially late
Real
season,
late,
Parks
bad.
and Rec was so bad.
Real bad.
It was just like
But so is The Office. The Office after like season 5's.
But here's the thing, though.
unwatchable.
The Office has an excuse. They lose Steve Carell and all that shit, so it's fine. That 30 Rock or Parks and Rec never lost anyone, and it's just like,
They lost their fastball. That's what they lost.
yeah, they had this weird thing where like everything got neatly wrapped up every episode. Everything was like, do you know how you appreciate a show for being really tight?
Yeah. Well, I mean, 30 Rock is the tightest show of all time.
Parks and Rec is almost like so fundamentally sound that it annoys you. Like everything cleanly wraps up at the end, but all the beats are perfect. It's almost like too perfect.
Except the last season, they just kind of jump into the future.
yeah, actually.
I hate that shit. I hate jumping into the future.
Anyway, if you love The Office, you're a basic bitch.
Okay.
If you like Community, you try too hard. You're a proto Rick and Morty. You don't get the humor.
I
type of guy.
love Community.
Community's good.
I'm saying if you like go hard for Community.
Right. What does Parks and Rec mean?
I don't know.
I'm simple.
You're an idiot.
I don't know.
You just like going down to the bar right after work, getting a Coors
Parks and
Light.
Rec is the closest to brilliant other than 30 Rock. I think it's the second best of all of them.
Yeah. What up?
Oh, cool.
Some number 2, bitch.
You're almost as smart as Rob, is what he just told you.
Yeah.
I'm
In
fine
TV
with-
terms.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I almost agree with that.
Wow, that's a first for the show. Dan almost agrees with something. Put
With
it on
me
the
of
wall.
all people.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know which one I like the most. I like them all equally. None of them are my favorite show.
No, but you have to pick a favorite of those.
The British Office.
No.
Fuck those people.
Yeah.
That was the thing when I was in college, because that was when The Office was airing and shit when I was in college. It started when I was in college. So people were like, after like, especially the second season when it got really big, people were like, okay, well, you've seen the British Office? British Office is way better, man.
No, it's not. It's fucking
It's
bad.
fucking not. No, it's not better than the American Office in
Ricky
any
Gervais
way.
is so off-putting in that, it's
Well,
unwatchable.
Gervais does both, right?
No,
Like he's a producer.
He's
for,
Yeah, because it's his IP.
Anyway, all this NBC primetime programming aside, in 1940, a 26-year-old Ray meets then 19-year-old...
My name is Earl.
Whatever happened? Did he get the list done?
No.
Yeah, he didn't, did he?
Anyway, go on, sorry.
Yeah. This is all for the fucking up the ad read, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. 26-year-old Ray meets then 19-year-old Faye Della Wilson, 7 years his junior. Faye had been raised in a dirt floor cabin in Harrison in a very religious family.
Harrison, Arkansas?
Yes. The two got married 6 months later. In 1944, they moved, along with their oldest 2 kids, to California.
What? Their oldest 2 kids? What? Who?
In 1940, they get married. In 1944,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they have 2 kids in between that time,
Okay.
that 4-year span. They move to California, where they had another child. They eventually ended up with 5.
Not smart.
Yeah, no, especially because Ray was violently abusive. He was a terrible husband and father. He would beat Faye and the children with anything that he could pretty much get his hands on, everything from cattle kickers to cast iron skillets. Do you know what a cattle kicker is, by the way?
No, what is that?
It's basically something that they use to chain.
Spur?
Not quite. It's like it's basically like handcuffs for cows, so they don't kick you while you're doing stuff. So
nice.
it's like chains and like
Yeah.
a hook. And
Ooh, kinky.
My main question is, what were his kids and wife wearing?
probably not a lot. They were poor,
Yeah.
Also, why are you handcuffing cows?
so they don't kick you. It's a cattle kicker, so they don't kick you.
What are you doing?
Milking them? I don't know.
No, not at that angle. You're not.
at that time.
Yeah, not at that angle.
I don't know. You saying he's boinking the cows?
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
By the way,
He doesn't stop till the cows come.
I used to think
Generous lover.
I dropped the home off there. You see what I did?
Mhm.
it's fair.
Yeah.
I used to think, by the way, that people like this man are a monster for sure, but there's a lot of there's a lot of
let's
shit.
hear both sides.
Yeah. There's a lot of shitty husbands that don't go that far, certainly, but a lot of men who just are really disengaged from their children when they're young, don't care, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Are you projecting right now?
No, what I'm telling you is a lot of people, they say men need to do better at being fathers and stuff like that, because we don't do a good job, especially when the kids are young.
I do agree you should be a better father.
No, I disagree with that general sentiment. And
I'm
here's
just
why.
saying you in general. I'm not talking about
It gives me such a lower bar to clear.
public.
Yeah, at least.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
Do
get
you
it.
understand how low the bar is for me to have to like bunny hop over?
Oh,
You haven't seen your kid all day.
that's a common thing from a common complaint I've heard about fathers. It's like you see like a mom doing a bunch of chores with like a kid around. They're like, oh, that's a mom. It's like you see a guy with their kid at the playground, and it's like that's a good dad.
Yeah.
Well-
He's doing nothing.
Yeah.
Well, being a mother is the hardest job in America.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I actually don't necessarily disagree with that after watching
Being a father,
what I've seen.
If you're just
Requires nothing.
slightly present, you're killing it.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. I love you. Shitty dads, abusive dads. Oh my God, you just make my life so much easier. I don't want you to do what you're doing, but I guess you're
Rethinking
already
them?
but
you're
you like
already
to have
doing it.
examples to point out to your wife so she doesn't leave you.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's nothing that makes my life easier than a terrible father.
Yeah, it's kind of like how other terrible countries give us a bar to point at too, as America.
Right.
Every time, like,
What
anyone-
about isms?
Yeah, it's like anytime someone's like, "Oh, well, the Chinese do this," it's like that's our bar. China.
What about China?
Yeah, our bar is China
Yeah.
for being shitty to people.
Or what about Chicago? These abusive dads are Chicago's.
Yeah. I just point to Chicago every time.
What's the mayor of Chicago's name? What's her name?
Lori
Lori
Lightfoot.
Lightfoot.
It's one of the best posts ever.
She's awesome.
It was her taking a picture with Joe Biden. It said, "Oh, it's so nice that Gary Coleman and Mr. Drummond got back together."
Oh man.
She
It's a
looks
good
like
one.
a fucking Batman villain.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
funny.
fantastic.
I mean, that's a great quote. Like,
Oh yeah.
come on.
100%.
If you can get a fucking it's not Family Affair. What is it? Well, Different Strokes reference in on
Yeah.
that picture. A+.
You do it. Yeah.
She also she's a lesbian that cheats on her wife, I believe,
So she's cool.
all the time. I don't know how cool she is.
She doesn't look
She's
like
a politician.
She doesn't look like
we
a good
shouldn't.
hang,
we shouldn't.
all right?
She does not.
We shouldn't only let our straight politicians cheat on their spouses constantly.
No, if you're gay, you better Pete better be getting some dick on the side.
I think they might be just rolling around together. You know what I mean?
Like literally rolling around in sheets.
No, I mean it's just like they just invite a third over
Whatever.
and a fourth
You're
and a
saying
fifth.
gays can't be capable of monogamy?
I'm saying they're cooler than us
All right.
and get to have orgies all the time. There's nothing I want more when my wife isn't pregnant than to invite like 4 other chicks over. And
Yeah.
maybe like 1 or 2 other like studs, like a bowl, and
Right.
yeah, and
And
just
then
have
you
like
just dress up as Superman in the
and-
closet.
yeah, I just go bananas while I'm not there. Yeah, of course, like I'm in the closet watching.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Do you have like a little little hole that you drill through the wall?
Well, it's
or-
the like Venetian kind of slat closet where he has to stand on his tippy
And
toes
I,
to
of
see
course,
what's happening
film
on the
it
floor.
because I need my son to one day see how a real man operates.
Who's the real man though in this situation? Is it
The
you or are
one-
you just filming yourself in the
No,
closet?
No, I'm behind
His
the
name's
lens.
Jeff. Jeth. Jeff.
Jeff with a G.
Jeff, yeah.
Jeff. Anyway, the year their youngest child was born, Ray was accused of stealing horses from a nearby farmer.
That'd get you hanged in the wrong time.
No charges were filed. This guy just
What year is
evades-
this, by the way?
The youngest
Depression.
child. So it's
They got bigger issues.
It's
going
sometime
on.
in the 40s.
Yeah,
Go
there's-
fight in World War II, you coward. Where is he?
So it's after that because they moved.
Did he serve?
No,
No.
they moved to California in 44 with their kids.
So does
So
that,
he didn't serve?
that
No,
means
I doubt
doesn't
it.
have to go to war because he lives in California?
Yeah,
No,
what?
I don't think he served at all. Yeah, because
How? How did he get away with that?
that's a really good question. Actually, they say nothing about his. Yeah, because he
He
was.
didn't pass the physical.
Well, hold on. He was
No,
born
he
in
was-
19
Well, he's illiterate. Can
My
he be
grandpa
illiterate?
was born in 1912, and he literally fought in the Battle of the Bulge.
He can't read, so he can't go to war.
We had plenty. If you can't read, you're the best person to send to war.
Actually, yeah, you don't know what's right or wrong.
Yeah,
It's like just do it, man.
just go.
Anyway, I don't. That's actually a really good question. They mentioned nothing about his military time in what I was reading.
He could have done so much murder
Yeah, I know.
on people who should have been murdered.
Right. He could murdered and beat people to a pulp and be a hero.
Can I talk about this real quick? By the way, I'll make this quick. But I've seen this trend going around recently, and I fucking hate it. I don't know if you guys seen this, talked about online on like Twitter and TikTok and
See this? Hear about this?
stuff. Yeah. There's like this new thing where people are blaming men currently, and they're trying to like be nice to the current group of men like us, whatever, and say like, oh, it's not our fault that we're shitty or emotionally unavailable or worse or whatever, because really what we've inherited is multi-generational trauma that has not been addressed from the World War II generation that came home
From the boomers,
and
too.
no one helped them from their war trauma, and that's just been passed down, and we're still dealing with it.
I'm sorry. We have multi-generational trauma from fucking hopping out of trees then.
Yeah,
And-
it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I've had multiple people say that to me. I've seen it a bunch on social media. And let me tell you right now, that's not fucking real. What the fuck? What?
No.
You're like, oh, no, the reason we're all so fucked up is because our grandparents never our grandparents would never help with their shit, and then like they passed it down to our parents, and then they passed it down to us, and
Snowball
like
effect, yes.
I don't think. I mean,
it just fills me with hate. So that's my trauma.
I mean, I think the argument there is everyone's fucked up all the time. That's what being a human is. Everyone's fucking weird and has their neuroses and their weird shit.
No, I'm
Right.
perfect.
Except for Dan, who is perfect.
Except he doesn't have abs anymore. He's on T now to get his abs back.
You're on T.
I'm not on T.
What are you on?
I'm on this like supplement that's like a natural. It's a fucking herb.
Oh, was it like ashwagandha or some shit?
Yeah,
You're on like a testosterone booster.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not.
It's
he's
a
not on
herb.
T.
I'm not on T.
He's on like fucking Tonkat or like
I
ashwagandha
am.
or
I'm
some
on
shit.
Tomcat Ali.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's not fucking.
He's
not
got
on
low.
T.
He's got low T.
Do
I
you rub it on
don't.
your? Do you rub it on your wiener?
I clearly don't have low T.
Yeah.
Almost had a child.
Oh, we talked about this on the show.
Oh, this Aaron. This.
No,
huh?
no, that's as far as we'll go.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so yeah, the year their youngest child was born, Ray was accused of stealing horses from a dealer. We haven't even gotten like down the first page yet.
Good.
No charges were filed, but he figured he needed to move on and move the family back to Arkansas. Less than a month after his return, he was arrested for stealing cattle and served a year. He finally served a year.
Who's
in
this
state
guy?
prison.
He's just like livestock doesn't belong to anyone. An animal can't
Can't just
belong
own
to
an
someone.
animal. Yeah.
An animal belongs to whoever is touching it in that moment.
He's like the
anything,
guy with his hand on the car.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a mall and you have to keep your hand on a car. That's how he,
Sounds pretty progressive.
Yeah.
He's actually a visionary.
Anti-property.
Yeah, it's very communist. When he got out, he moved to Missouri.
Let's go.
Yeah, where he was
Not an
again.
adjacent move.
Where he was again. Drum roll, please. Arrested for cattle theft.
Wow.
This guy, if
This
there's
dude's
one,
fucking farm animals.
Man likes cows. It's weird that he keeps stealing branded animals.
you can't read the brand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It doesn't know what that means.
Hey, this cow's got a
What are these
weird.
funny little
Line on there.
Yeah.
lines.
Cow's got a weird little symbol on too.
Oh, it's strange.
Why do you think them cows born this way with them? Everyone's got that weird thing on
little
it. It's all,
birthmarks.
all different, but
He kept moving the family around and getting arrested for writing forged checks pretty regularly.
good Lord, writing what? Writing what?
This is just his history, man.
He can't write.
That's why he's bad. That's
got
why he
like-
keeps getting arrested.
He's got like a stencil or
Good
something?
Lord.
You'll have to help me pronounce this, but they have enough money to do this. They bought a 40-acre farm in Mooresville.
So one of these forged checks went through.
At some point,
Clearly.
there's just another illiterate bank teller. I was like, that checks out.
It's just like he's
Thank you, Mr. X.
He's just like making up symbols until he accidentally gets everything
it's like
right.
infinite monkey theorem. It's like if you put an illiterate give an illiterate a blank checkbook.
Eventually, he'll write the perfect check.
He'll write the perfect forged check. Yes.
Or he learned how to like write kind of from all the brands on animals that he stole.
No, I like the infinite monkey theory.
The infinite illiterate theory.
Yeah.
Right.
If you give an illiterate like a trillion checks,
He'll get
one right.
He'll get one cash.
Yeah.
This farm was in Mooresville, outside of Chillicothe. Chillicothe.
Yes.
Chillicothe or Chillicothe. It's pronounced both ways. Yeah.
Okay, Chillicothe, Missouri.
Or no, Chillicothe.
Chillicothe. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Faye supported the farm by working in a factory and later being a motel maid. Because Ray was pretty fucking well known as a fraud at this point, he was no longer allowed to buy or sell cattle on his own within the town or in the state of Missouri.
Well, since he didn't own cattle, clearly.
Yeah, he's like,
They're like, Ray, you just keep bringing what are clearly not your cows. The reason I know they're not your cows is because A, you can't fucking read, and B, they got letters on them.
and they're my cows.
Yeah, and they're
You're trying to sell me my cow. But he ain't buying cows. He's never bought cows.
He's never once bought a cow, dude. He's only stolen cows. So yeah, he's not allowed to trade. He's not allowed at the
Right.
shit anymore.
The farmer market.
Yeah. To get around this problem, he did what any good old God-fearing illiterate does.
Oh, did he wear like a little mustache and fake glasses?
No, that would have been pretty cute, but he didn't do that. He began to round up drifters and hobos around town and, quote-unquote, employed them as farmhands on his property in Mooresville. He would take his employees to the market where they would use his bad checks to buy cattle for him. After the transactions, Ray would sell the cattle quickly, and the farmhands would disappear without a trace. For a while, the scam worked because he would cancel the checks
right.
for people because it took longer.
He's flipping cattle.
Yeah, well, he's still stealing them, just in a more elaborate way.
Yeah, in a more white-collar way.
Yeah, he's doing check fraud to steal cows.
I respect that he can't read, but he's committing white-collar crimes.
It's amazing. This is the American dream, really.
He's like Frank Abagnale Jr. if he couldn't spell Frank Abagnale Jr.
Is that the guy from Catch Me If You Can?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's like Catch Me If You Can, but for an idiot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't leave anymore. So
Yeah, this guy's not getting offered a job with the FBI.
No.
it's like, see, here's what you do. You scribble a bunch, and then one day this thing just works.
Yeah.
This check.
I just made symbols on it until one day they was like, okay.
Guy probably was like, how much you want? And he probably handed him like half of what he took out. He's like, he stole $4,000.
Like, I take this money.
No, I guarantee you, the checks that worked, the teller was like, huh. All right, yeah, you want $4,000? Hands them to you, pockets too. He walked out with $4,000.
Oh, yeah, it's 4 because I can count
Definitely can't count.
real good.
Yeah, but the police caught up to it, figured it out. He finally gets sent to jail. I imagine the police are like, wait, let's see these checks. Huh, scribbles again.
Yeah.
Weird. Who could it be?
We got to catch the Missouri scribbler.
Ray gets out of jail, but this time he knows he has to be smarter. So he devises a new scheme.
Not learning to read, I assume.
Reading never comes up.
He doesn't need it, to be honest.
Old
This
dog
man,
can't learn new tricks.
I want to know, like, he's been to jail at least 6 times so far
Yeah.
in this story.
Yeah, but for non-violent crimes.
you know who I blame? This episode's Hitler is the system.
Yeah. Just property.
Keeps
Property
getting
center.
slapped on the wrist.
Cattle. to a
Clearly
certain
not
extent.
learning
Yeah.
his lesson.
So he devises a new scheme. Ray would recruit homeless men from the missions and shelters in nearby towns, so no one would know him,
Right.
and offer them $50 a week plus room and board to help out around the farm. For many, it seemed like a deal that was too good to be true.
$50 a week is a shit ton.
Yeah,
I feel like back
it was
then.
a fucking lie. He wasn't
Yeah.
doing that.
Fake
Kidding me?
checks.
Yeah,
He just keeps writing them fake checks.
dude. Yes, exactly. Well, kinda. It's a fake check in theory. I doubt he even writes it. But anyway,
Writing
he
fake
would then
checks that his ass couldn't cash.
actually he would actually write a fake. He would write a real check. So he would have his victim. This is actually pretty smart. I'm pretty blown away by this part. It wasn't really fake checks.
Like, you don't have to be smart to be clever.
No, you don't. He would have his victim open a checking account in their own name. So the people he recruited, the homeless people and stuff, he'd have them open a checking account in their own name with $200 that Ray would front them using a P.O. box as an address. They would go then together to various cattle auctions, and Ray would signal the man which cattle to bid on and how much. When they purchased the cattle, the man would pay with his check in his own name,
Sick.
which would clear at first. They would sell the cattle and come back and do it again, only this time the checks would not clear. So they were using real money at first. Like, Ray had this perpetual $200
Right.
he would use to buy cattle, but then they'd flip it and they'd do a whole
Yeah.
bunch of shit.
It's kind of like what I do with my debit card. I go out for large meals, kind of just throw it on there, $500, $600 meals. And then I report my credit card stolen or my debit card stolen, and I replace the card.
Got stolen again. Actually, there was a while in Austin where I would have my debit card number stolen
All the time.
routinely.
There was a bunch of gas scams. Like
Oh
the
my
card
God.
readers.
Every time I go
had, like,
to a gas station, I try to rip the card reader out.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've legitimately had like 3 or 4 debit card numbers stolen in Austin.
I don't even use my debit card at the gas station anymore because of that. It happened like 3 times to me in 1 year.
Well, they can't do it anymore.
Because I got the safe chip.
The chip, and the numbers aren't raised.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's how they do it.
Oh, I thought they just had something that was transmitting the digital information. I think they have something more complex than that.
Oh,
now,
you're
too.
right.
They used to have an attachment that would go over
The card reader,
the card
and it would
reader,
read the
and
card.
it would read as you insert.
Yeah,
it.
and
you're
then
right.
there would be someone nearby with Wi-Fi or something, and it would shoot it over Bluetooth. Shoot it over
I
to
kind of
them.
respect scam artists.
I don't,
Dude, the
I don't hate
scam.
them. I hate the game.
It's a scam.
Hate the
Like,
game.
It's not like they hate you personally.
And also, my bank had such good security that it caught it every time.
Yeah.
So
That was
Man, the shit's FDIC insured. What are you gonna do?
ain't my money really.
Yeah.
These people, they're hard workers.
Anyway.
If they put their attention to something actually of value, who
No.
knows what they'd be capable of?
Nothing. Everything's been done. Everything's been done.
They all live in Florida too.
Oh yeah. The guy who stole my identity lived in Florida,
Yeah.
Miami Beach.
I mean, gotta keep up appearances.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So yeah, the checks would not clear when they sell the cattle or whatever. I'm sorry, I'm lost in the whole cattle selling scheme now. Yeah, so Ray would have sold the cattle and the homeless man would be gone. Dennis Murphy was one of these men. In 1986, he was wanted for writing bad checks at cattle auctions. Police had discovered that the cattle had been taken away in a trailer owned by Ray Copeland. The police questioned Ray and Faye Copeland about Murphy. The couple claimed that Murphy also wrote them bad checks. It happened to us too.
Yeah. Oh, that Murphy.
Yeah, he did the same thing to us.
What about me?
Wait, so I'm sorry. This guy was still illiterate in 1986.
I imagine he could read at this point, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure at some point he's able to read.
I like to pretend he can't.
He just
Yeah.
still can't. Yeah. So
Think of a man this old with Alzheimer's that can't read.
Well, if you have Alzheimer's, you're not reading.
you're not doing a lot of reading.
You don't think so?
I mean, you
I
can.
don't
read.
think you are.
It seems pointless. I get that.
And also, you might forget how to read.
It's possible, I guess.
To be quite honest, how hardwired is it in your brain?
No, you remember everything. I guess previous. You wouldn't.
Depends really on the.
Yeah, I don't.
You're
know.
not really retaining new information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you're jumping around, but like you can jump around to like, oh, I'm 16. Oh, I'm 35. Like all that
That
stuff.
sounds fun. To be
Yeah,
honest.
Alzheimer's just sounds like an acid trip.
Kinda. No.
A terrifying, horrible acid
Yeah,
trip.
the worst kind.
Where you're like, I'm 16, and then you look at your hand, and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. You gotta embrace it.
I mean, that's actually pretty common for people on acid. They look at their hands, they're like, I'm aging.
yeah.
Like,
Nah.
it's like, nah, you're on drugs,
I'm a
dude.
raisin.
Yeah.
I will say this, by the way. Normally, when you look at your hands, you might just be like, yeah, it's my hand. Oh, maybe it looks a little weird or whatever. Maybe it looks a little different, whatever. Well, looking at my hand right now, I'm like, yeah, it's my hand, whatever. When I look at my hand next to my child's hand, I'm like, oh, I'm old as fuck.
Yeah, children have little hands.
How veiny are
No,
your
not
hands?
the little
The
part.
smoothness.
Yeah, just how like
How many veins do you have in your hands? I'm not that veiny. I just got tiny hands though.
I got some popping up.
Got some Kenny Pickett hands.
See him popping. See him starting to come in.
BK Whopper Jr. hands.
Anyway, why are we talking about our fucking hands? God.
I don't know, why not?
I
I'm
don't
talking
know.
about this guy.
Yeah, let's talk about this dude. So yeah, they're like, oh yeah, he did the same thing to us. He left in the cover of night. Since Murphy was known to be a drifter, the sheriff took the Copeland story at face value, which sounds like a stupid sheriff.
Sheriff of where?
The sheriff in Mooresville,
Missouri.
Yeah,
Okay.
In the
they know
80s?
he's a fraud.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, so he loaded that cattle onto your thing, but he wrote you a bad check, huh?
Yeah.
What have you been in jail for?
No, what-
Stealing cattle?
What year is
Yeah,
this
but
now?
that was in 1930. It's fine.
So they're questioning him in 1986 at this
So
point.
this is 40 years later.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know this. Like he's just an old man at this
yeah,
point.
actually, records are probably shitty.
Actually, yeah, they probably have no records on him from the shit he did before they started
Yeah,
keeping records.
and honestly, nothing. Mooresville is certainly not digitized.
yeah, in 86, no one is.
I mean, maybe the big cities.
Like New York,
Yeah.
D.C.
Anyone that was keeping records probably dead.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, fair enough. Then a deputy from a different county came looking for another man, Wayne Warner. The Copelands gave him the same exact story about Warner. In all, there were 7 men who were wanted for these forged checks at cattle auctions throughout central Missouri, and all of them were missing, and they all had a connection to Ray Copeland.
Now, I just want to make I know it's not the case, but I want to imagine that he just burned so many goddamn bridges and with these forged checks, and he broke the law so many times that they're eventually like, all right, you're going to like we got to kill you. For like white collar crimes.
It's just like there's like some weird arbitrary number. It's like 100.
You've
100
done
strikes
too
and you're
many.
dead.
Like you can't be alive anymore.
Yeah,
like
you've been arrested for this 100 times. You now
Like it's just over. It's over. Like you're done.
It's the very little known 100 strikes you're out
Yeah.
rule for small crime.
yes.
In Missouri, that might be a thing. I don't know. What's really weird is in Missouri, where they do kill people, by the way, is also like a lake community. So like the prison where they do the death penalty in Missouri, there's like a nice lake community right next to it.
Oh, really?
They spank children now too
Banter, Missouri.
in that
Oh.
really shitty town.
Yeah, I forget where that was on the Arkansas border. Bonterre, though. Bonterre, Missouri. It's in eastern Missouri. My buddy Luke, who we
Yes.
hung out with a couple weeks ago, his family used to have a lake house in Terre de Lac. We go there all the time. That's like right outside Bonterre. We would
Nice.
literally pass by the prison.
Would you go to public executions or
They weren't public, although my mother did take me to death row when I was a child.
to scare you straight?
No, she just had a client there, and couldn't get a babysitter, so she took me to death row.
Did he make it or no?
He's on death row.
Yeah, no, he died.
I don't know if he got off.
You don't.
Your mom's not that good of a public defender, I guess.
There's no such thing as a public defender that gets a death row inmate off.
Doesn't happen.
I don't know what kind of Hollywood movies you've been
Yeah.
watching.
I don't know. I feel like public defenders, they're very they're in court all the time. That they're battle tested.
They are.
They're not resource tested.
Like really good lawyers, when they go to court, they suck because
Here's
they're
the-
never in court.
Here's a secret you don't know about public defenders. Obviously the main hedge is they're massively overworked and underfunded, but B, and just as importantly, most of their clients are guilty.
So you're saying this man was guilty?
Yeah. Oh yeah. A public defender's job is mostly to give them a good representation and not let them get totally fucked by the system.
yeah, it's to have a fair trial.
Yeah.
It's like
But like there.
I like to think this man was innocent, and your mom couldn't get him off.
That's fine. I know that's immediately what you want to go to, but that's like most people, unfortunately, that get sent to the public defender system are not super duper innocent. The real ones that get fucked, that my mom does help or any public defender does help, are the kids that will probably committed a crime, but you're basically trying to keep them out of the system at large, or get
so
them.
they're not repeat offenders.
Right.
The single worst thing that can happen to you is to be put into the system in any way, shape, or form.
Dude, there was a judge. There was a story not that long ago that would like literally take these kids for like dumbass crimes like jaywalking and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and just throw them into private prison for years.
He just got sued for. I think he has to pay $200 million.
Yeah, he should die.
Yeah,
someone
should probably kill him.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of that right now. There's a lot of shit coming out with just the fact that our prison system is a for-profit system.
It is, yeah.
Like there's judges taking kickbacks for prosecution, like for longer terms and things like that to fill those beds up.
And it's mostly kids.
Yeah.
That get fucked.
Well, that's a sad story. But
Let's
we'll
go back
continue
to a
with
fun
ours.
story.
Yeah, let's go back to a fun one. It wasn't until 1989 that a tip cracked the case open on this old Ray Copeland, when a man named Jack McCormick called the Missouri authorities from Nebraska. And there's a reason why he's calling from Nebraska, and we'll get to it in a second. He told them that he thought he had seen human bones on the Copelands farm. The authorities searched the farm, including using dozens of bloodhounds and cadaver dogs, but they found nothing.
One call got a full fucking dog team.
Yeah.
Seems
There were seven.
sus.
There were 7 missing people connected to this person.
Okay.
Just a ladder of bones.
Yes. They didn't find anything. McCormick, who was taken into custody and questioned, recanted this statement about finding the bones. But he did reveal something else. He told them all about the check cashing scam that Ray had drafted him into. He also told them that he was very afraid of Ray. He recounted that one night, Ray had asked him to come out to a neighbor's barn under the pretense of shooting a raccoon that had gotten into the barn. Ray had his .22 bolt-action Marlin rifle, and McCormick went to the barn. But McCormick felt very wary of Ray and kept his eye on him. When he went to poke a stick and get the raccoon out, as Ray had directed him to, he turned around and saw Ray had that .22 pointed at his head. He told police that he talked Ray out of shooting him with the promise that he would leave town and never come back. He told Ray that before he left, he wanted to make good on the check that he had written and convinced Ray to take him to the bank where he could deposit his earnings to cover it. Ray actually did this, and McCormick slipped out the back of the bank and over to a used car lot nearby. There, he convinced the salesperson that he wanted to take one of the cars for a test drive. Well,
I just got the fuck out of town.
He drove to Nebraska.
That's fucking awesome.
He was like, yeah, I just want to take it on a quick test drive. Drove it to Nebraska. He was like, I'm so scared of this guy, I left the state in a stolen car to call you about it.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they do let you do that. Like, I mean, when you take a test drive, the guy doesn't get in there with you. Doesn't have to anyway.
Not always, yeah. I've taken plenty of test rides without anyone.
Yeah, my last test drive, the guy wasn't in there.
Like, I've had it where the guy's been like, you can take it out for the day if you want. Like, drive around and see how you like it. Which is insane to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, you're fucked if you steal it.
yeah, I mean, they have
Unless
your
your
driver's
literal goal is like abandon it somewhere else. Either way, though, they take like your info and shit.
shit. Unless
so.
you're forging your driver's license.
Right,
It's a
right,
really
right.
bad idea.
Yeah, that seems like a great way to get a getaway vehicle.
It's not the worst.
Yeah.
Just go in for a test drive, fake ID.
Did we figure out how to do this?
Especially
Rob
if
a
like
bank.
here's what you do. You take someone you break into a home, you take this man's family hostage. You say you get down to the fucking CarMax and you ask for the best gas mileage car they have, you motherfucker. Or I'm gonna put your daughter's brains all over her play place.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
And then you bring it back here and I'm driving it to fucking Mexico.
Yeah.
Just get the fucking car, Jake.
Anyway, authorities then got another tip from a local that Ray had often worked with on a neighboring farm. One of those barns, he said to the police, had smelled like a dead animal. So they searched that property, and in that barn, they found a shallow grave containing the skeletal remains of 3 men, all killed by a .22 bullet to the head.
Oh man. Serial killers that kill with guns fucking suck.
They're lame, right?
Yes, super lame.
Yeah.
You're a bitch.
In another barn on the same property, they found another body, then another in a well. This last man had been wearing a belt.
You're
that
gonna
said
poison the water.
Dennis.
That said what?
Dennis.
Oh.
Dennis got.
Yeah, of course he did.
I don't know who Dennis is, but
I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah. Well, there is victims. Dennis is important later. Searching the Copeland's home, they found many of the missing men's clothes and hidden in a camera case a list of men's names.
But what happened? Like, we were talking about, like, check forgery, and now we're talking about...
The problem was that the hobos were getting picked up and ratting him out in that check forgery scheme the first
killing
time.
a bunch of hobos.
So he just kept killing hobos who were ratting him out.
Yeah, he kept killing. Well, the first time.
For how long? Because he was picking up hobos in the 40s.
So the first time he got arrested, he was letting the hobos go. Then he got out. Then he's like, I'm not letting
never
that
again.
happen. Never again.
Yeah, never. These hobos.
So has he been killing hobos for 30 years or what?
It's about 20.
Okay.
Essentially, he realized that hobos, and this is, we're not all scientists, but he realized that hobos have mouths.
They do.
And mouths talk. And they use those mouths to talk.
They do. And admit to crimes.
Yeah, and he had to
keep them from talking.
Yes.
Searching the Copeland's home, they found many of the missing men's clothes, and hidden in a camera case was a list of men's names. Some of the names had X's next to them. Nearly all of them had been wanted in connection with the hot check scam.
By the way, that tells me he's not just doing it for business. Like, he's not a Tony Soprano, Walter White, whatever. Like, he's enjoying.
Yeah, he's keeping a collection.
He's keeping trophies.
Actually, something really weird. We'll talk about Faye's involvement in this in a little bit, but she would make blankets out of their clothes, and they would cuddle under it.
Oh, fun. That's not awful.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
they're hobos too, by the way. What the fuck?
To be fair, I mean, my parents...
This isn't like a sorority T-shirt blanket.
Yeah, I was going to say, your parents didn't make, like, your intramural T-shirts or, like, your sports shirts growing up into a quilt?
No.
I mean, we have a great blanket at our house of Courtney's Mizzou sorority
shirts.
T-shirts, yeah.
Yeah. Seems pretty common.
Less so for, like, whatever fucking potato sack the hobos you murdered were wearing.
Yeah, but you're not making it out of skin.
I guess that's better than skin.
Again, the bar here. That's the bar, huh?
It's the dad bar.
It's the dad bar.
The skin blanket, yes.
Yeah. Man, I love the dad bar. The dad, keep lowering it.
Should make a bar called the dad bar.
The dad bar. Super low.
Yeah, it's incredibly low.
Can we open it up with Hondos?
It's under sea level.
Everything costs you have to get everything in quantities of 100.
Quantities of 100, yeah.
Yeah, that will be the dad bar.
Dad bar is
Hundos is
a
inside.
part of Hundos.
Well, Hundos is inside dad bar.
I mean, look, I'll order 100 wings, 100 mozzarella sticks, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just you and all your
have friends.
Just you and all your dad friends.
It's a place with your dad friends.
Dad bar. Bat and penning. It was very difficult to identify the bodies of these victims since they were transients. Any medical or dental records they had were very old or non-existent.
I've heard a rumor that homeless people don't go to the dentist very often.
Yeah, it's very... Oh, Dennis.
It's the one thing they actually take care of is their teeth.
It's great teeth.
Common misconception.
Dennis is the Murphy. Dennis Murphy from earlier when they were like, he left in the cover of Night. Right. Yeah, just remembering that. Dennis Murphy was identified by the odd shape of his mandibular condyle, joint of the jawbone. Forensic scientists were able to identify the other bodies. Paul Cowart, James Harvey, John Freeman, and Wayne Warner. All of them had X's next to their names on the list. So they were able to pretty much put two and two together that, Ray's killing these folks. In 1989, Ray Copeland was charged with 5 murders, as was Faye. So they charged her too. They were tried separately, and they tried Faye first, which is the weird part to me.
I don't think that's weird.
No. Also, imagine getting fucking offed by some old bitch.
I know, right?
Well, there's nothing really connecting her to it.
I don't think it's weird that they tried her
I'm talking
first.
about the guy, not the girl.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's weird they tried her first. I think it's smart.
Why?
You want to get as much information out of her in the trial as possible before you try the guy you think really did it. If you can try 2 different people,
Fair
get
enough.
all the info you can out of there, all that shit, pump it all.
I would
fucking
argue,
out.
too, if you're just an old bag of bones and you're murdering, like, it's kind of on the person that got murdered.
Agreed to an extent, unless you get poisoned or something.
Or shot.
But if he, like, physically overpowers you...
Yeah, then you're a bitch.
I don't think you need to because you have a gun. He's literally shooting you.
What I would do is,
with his fucking shaky
there's been a couple
hand.
times where I've gone into a barn with an old guy, and like there's been a gun between the two of us, and every time I'm like, leave the gun at the door.
What? It's never happened to you.
Yeah, like 3 times.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, Boy Scout camp twice, and at my grandpa's 70th birthday once.
Yeah. You actually told me about that.
I'm not even entertaining this.
My grandpa was like, let's go to the barn.
He brought the gun.
Yeah, he was like, I'll bring the 22. And I was like, what are you doing, Grandpa?
You don't need to force me at gunpoint. I'll do it normal.
No, that was a different thing.
That was the Boy Scout one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He made you hold it too because of the arthritis.
Yeah. Now point it at your head.
Pointing at my head. Makes me
Yeah,
excited.
but you're all mixed up.
Makes me excited.
Well,
I'll just say this.
Okay.
That was one knot we didn't learn to untie in Boy Scout camp.
The hangman's noose?
It was just whatever, knot we were in there. Yeah, you walk in there, it's a real knot you can't untie.
Yes. You didn't know where you started and your grandfather ended.
No, it was a Boy Scout camp.
Oh, God.
My grandpa didn't do anything.
Okay.
He was a good man.
Yeah, he was a good man. But the
He
Scoutmasters.
fought in the Battle of the Bulge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, different battle.
The Scoutmasters, though.
I can't, guys.
Although, to be fair, both of my grandpas were my Scoutmasters. So,
I hate this bit. I hate this bit truly and terribly.
Just
I hate
run with it. You.
No, my head hurts. It hurts so bad.
I can't I flew yesterday.
It's seriously, it's so weird.
Man, this is gonna set you back like 3
I had to
weeks.
sit down in the sky yesterday. It's hard.
Oh no, I went an hour forward.
That's 2 hours forward, bud. That's pure jet lag right there. Anyway,
You're tired from sitting.
I'm tired from sitting. I gotta change my lifestyle. Well, it became clear that Ray killed his employees in the pursuit of money. Faye's actions were initially questioned. When she went to trial in November 1990, her defense mounted a picture of her as a dutiful wife and mother who had endured beatings and general ill treatment from her husband. She hated the sinner, but bowed her head because, she's an evangelical Christian Baptist, and she believes that the man's the head of the household, so she just did what she was told.
Well, you're not supposed to hate the sinner.
Or, no, she hated the sin.
Love the sinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I meant.
Hate the sin, love the sinner.
Right, but also it's like he's my husband. I have to listen to him. That's God's will.
That's what I always say when my wife walks in on me fucking the dogs.
Hate the sin.
Not the sinner.
Yeah.
Our dog, Jack's dead.
I was about to say I'm only watching one dog.
They're small.
Yeah.
They're small boys.
One thing, by the
Well,
way.
Leo, you could just fit in between his folds.
Yeah. One thing, by the way, they don't tell you about having a baby is so Rory, he likes to
Oh, is he snitching on you?
poke and prod at things, and
Poke the dog's butts.
he tries to finger Leo's butthole on a regular basis.
That's concerning.
It's not concerning.
That's pre-crime, really.
Pre-crime. Or was this fucking? What was that movie?
'Cause Leo has,
Minority
like, a
Report.
big-
Yeah.
Leo has like a big dark asshole on like a big white fur background or whatever.
Ooh.
So
Maybe
Rory
not
sees
pre-crime.
it.
Maybe he's just telling you he's into assholes.
He is into assholes.
Maybe
He's
you have a gay child.
into that one. And every time he sees it, Rory's like, just puts his finger out there, trying to finger Leo's asshole.
Well, he will be finger free this weekend when he's.
Well,
in the
they
place.
always say like serial killers and everything. They start to kill animals early on, but when you finger an animal's asshole early on, what does that mean?
He's trying to please an animal,
Yeah,
if anything.
your kid's a whore.
Or he's,
A pimp.
A vegan?
I think he's just really compassionate.
That's what it is. Wow, look at the empathy.
Yeah. He wants to work Leo's prostate. And dogs do have prostates.
They do.
They have little dog prostates.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
I
And
felt it.
Their dicks
Wait, why'd you feel it?
lock in,
I want to
right?
see what Rory was getting at. You have to understand what your child's into.
That's how we bond, Rory.
Yeah, so I had to go all the way in there to see where he might go.
You're just being a good dad.
I am a good dad. That's why
Exploring his
that's why I
interests.
fingered my dog's asshole.
Right.
So I guess a lot of what I'm gonna continue here. A lot of what was on Faye's, like her whole like psychological evaluation, testimony and stuff was kind of thrown out for some technicality reason. So none of the shit about her being abused or anything like that got into court record.
Sick.
So she was convicted for 5 counts of first-degree murder. She
Cool.
was given 4 death sentences for the murders, 1 life sentence.
Seems like overkill.
Yeah, just a little bit. She was sentenced to be executed via lethal injection.
What if they just like kill you, revive you, kill you, revive?
They should.
Yeah.
Clear. Shoot him.
Yep.
They do it in different ways.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. In March 1991, Ray went on trial, was convicted of 5 counts of murder and sentenced to death via lethal injection
How old
as well.
is he here?
So he's born in 1914, so 1991. God. So he's like 78.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is important, right? Because he's the
76.
oldest man
76.
ever
Yes, he's 76.
sentenced to death.
He was then told after receiving his conviction or sentencing that Faye had been sentenced to death via lethal injection as well. Ray showed no emotion and replied, "Well, those things happen to some people, you know."
Yeah, sounds about
My
right.
wife, that happens.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah, I guess.
is what it is. We lived a long life.
Of stealing
He had
cattle.
actually already outlived the, average American death age or whatever.
Yeah. At 69, 76 years old, they were the oldest couple ever sentenced to death in American history.
She had not. She had not outlived the average female age. So
No, it's older.
So, big question. Was Faye really guilty at all in any of this? Her son doesn't think so. Her court-appointed psychologist doesn't think so. She was convicted on only 2 pieces of evidence, the list in the camera case that was in her handwriting and the quilt she made of the dead man's clothes, neither of which actually proves her knowledge of the murders.
Right.
Yeah, silence is violence.
Well, the arguments here are that she was a battered wife, the victims of years of abuse. Her court-appointed psychologist stated that she suffered from textbook battered woman syndrome, a kind of learned helplessness where the victim becomes unquestionably compliant. Faye stated time and time again that whatever Ray did or said, she did not ask questions for fear of being beaten. She was offered a plea deal by the prosecution, but she didn't take it because she swore she had no information to give them. She didn't know where any of the bodies were because she didn't know about the murders. On a technicality, like I said, her psychologist's statement that she suffered from the battered woman syndrome was excluded from her trial, so no testimony or evidence about any of that was allowed in the courtroom.
she was absolutely wrongfully executed.
She doesn't get executed.
Oh, perfect. Good.
Yeah. So most
Damn it.
likely Ray told her to write the list throughout their marriage. Faye had to take care of a bunch of shit. Ray probably told her to put X's next to the men's names too. This could have simply meant that the men left or were no longer willing to participate in the cattle scam. The fact that she made a quilt out of their clothes doesn't point to her knowledge of the deaths either. Only that many of these transients would leave clothes behind, and she, like any thrifty country woman, found a way to recycle them into something useful. Ray, who controlled her and made her life miserable for decades, continued to do so even after his death in jail in 1993. Faye was never exonerated because there was no one to ever say she didn't do it. So in 1999, her sentence was commuted to life in prison. She suffered a stroke. He died 2 years later in prison just of natural causes. He was old.
93.
Before he was executed.
Yeah. So he died just like on death row. Comfortably.
Death row is so stupid, by the way.
Yeah.
I hate the death penalty. Not because I'm like, I hate the death penalty.
Well, it gunks up our legal system really badly
It's
for
a
appeals.
waste of money.
Yeah.
It is a massive waste of
It's
money.
cheaper to just put them in jail forever than to try and kill them.
Like infinitely cheaper.
Yeah.
Certainly
Well,
leave a death penalty for like treason or like giant crimes. But like
this is why we need to
Yeah,
implement
like-
the movie Death Race.
your average fucking murderer is useless. Do not fucking
Use them for our entertainment.
Have them make license plates for
I don't
them.
hate that. Well, I mean, what were they doing?
What do you mean?
Were we just talking about some death row inmates doing some shit?
What?
I'm drunk. I don't know.
It's okay. To this day, many still believe she was a willing accomplice, a cold-hearted killer rather than a beaten-down wife.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
I think she probably knew that he was
she-
killing people, to be honest.
Yeah, she probably did. She was just too scared to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Either way, she didn't, silence is violence, like Dan said. Maybe that's the case. Either way, she suffered a stroke in 2002 and was released into a nursing home where she died a year later. Besides the 5 known victims, the Copelands were also suspected in the deaths of 7 other men. If Faye knew anything about them, she took that knowledge with her to the grave.
Yeah.
So those are the oldest people we've killed.
Well, we only killed one of them, right?
Technically,
We killed
neither
neither.
of them. They were
So
the
we didn't kill anybody.
the
Yeah,
oldest
so-
people sentenced to death.
This is
Okay.
kind of bullshit. The whole thing.
The whole episode's bullshit.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
that's what I learned.
Today's Hitler is Jake for being a liar.
I'd say Hitler is the system.
Oh, here's Jake coming in to make his
No,
fucking
that's what Rob
liberal
said.
point.
That's what Rob
The
said.
system is pretty dog shit in that regard, I suppose.
No one learns anything.
No, today's Hitler is Rob's mom for not getting that death row inmate off.
Yeah,
Well, that's the stupid death row thing we talked about earlier.
that probably is it, yeah. Took me to death row
Death Row Records.
in Bontermo.
Oh, man. Yeah. What'd you learn?
Nothing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. good.
Damn thing.
Chill.
I mean, what I learned was it was really easy to be a career criminal, a lifelong criminal,
Still a lot of farm animals.
until the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if he wouldn't have killed people, he probably could have just kept getting arrested and kept doing his thing forever. Like, it didn't seem like anyone
And he was in
really
that perfect window of stealing animals.
Should have been born 100 years earlier.
Yeah.
Well, we got
50 years earlier.
I mean, shit, he had a 40-acre farm.
50 to 100 years earlier, that first pig he steals, he's dead.
yeah, well, actually, no, he shouldn't have been born earlier because he did get caught for stealing horses. And if he was born any earlier, they would just hung him on the first.
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
he was actually
they
born.
used to kill you for like nothing.
He was born at the
For
perfect
stealing
time.
like a loaf
Yeah.
of bread.
Yeah.
They cut your hand off for
Like
that.
one wrong steal, you're fucking gone.
Yeah.
Grand theft. Done.
Not good.
Who's Hitler?
I don't know, the serial killer, I guess.
No, the
sounds-
wife. Wife sounds like she was kind of the mastermind behind it.
Yeah, she's really the.
What if she
Heinrich
was the
Himmler.
puppet master?
Yeah, she's the final solution person. She just pitched it to Hitler.
Yeah,
She's Heinrich Himmler
sure.
or whoever. Mengele.
I
I
would
don't
go
know.
the serial killer is probably Hitler if I had to
The
guess.
12% of Americans that can't read,
They Hitler?
they're Hitler.
It's not 12. It's fucking 4%.
88% can read.
No, it's fucking 96%.
You guys can figure that out on your own time. But you, as a listener, can check out softcorehistory.com. Check out our merch. We got tons of cool stuff there. We also have a Patreon, which we talked about a crazy astrologist named Tycho Brahe. Or Tycho Brahe. I don't know.
Tycho Brahe.
Doesn't
Tycho
matter.
Brahe. Yeah, we learned about him and his pet elk, so definitely check that out. Go patreon.com/softcorehistory. And yeah, tell your friends about us. Leave a review.
Oh, also, apologies for any problems you may have experienced, Apple users, last week. I know we were going through an RSS feed change, so you might have got spammed with a bunch of new episodes or a bunch of episodes from the past. So apologies for that and the delay for the episode coming out. We put it out Monday, but for whatever reason, Apple didn't post it till Friday. Hopefully, moving forward, that's not an issue. And the Spotify listeners that get every episode right on the time, sorry for spamming you as well. So,
Sorry.
our bad.
We're sorry.
Not really our bad. Fuck Apple.
Yeah.
But still.
But don't say that loud.
I
Anyway,
think-
Apple's
who cares?
wonderful.
We love them. For Rob Fox, Dan Regester, I'm Jake Goldman.
You just got soft served.